Okay, more Frieren Goes to Magic School Tournament Arc Magic Academy. There's a serial killer, there's a couple of annoying girls from a JRPG, and some other characters that we haven't really been introduced to yet. Let's see how Fern is doing, I imagine, is how we're going to start this episode, right? Just going off of Frieren last episode, Fern this time. Or maybe we're going to follow up on the plan that the girls and Frieren were making to capture the Stille easily. Who knows? Either way, welcome along to a Frieren reaction. If you've not been along to one of these before, please don't start at episode 19. That seems like a weird idea, unless there's a really cool scene in this particular episode that you want to see me react to, in which case, let me explain how this works. I can't play the whole anime episode for you on screen. I have it, I can watch through it, but I'm not going to put all of it on screen for you because of, copyright things and stuff. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to have it over here, silent, no audio, and you're going to have it on your own screen, and we are going to stay in sync with one another by the simple convenience of a countdown. So when I'm ready to start watching, I'll say 3, 2, 1, go, and then the anime will disappear from my screen here so I don't get, bunked, but you get to see the subtitles. You get a lovely little timer up in the top left corner there that will help you stay in tune with where I am. And sometimes some stuff will happen that I want to talk about, and I'll say 3, 2, 1, pause, and we'll pause at the same time, and then I'll do my yapping, and I'll talk about all the stuff that I talk about, and so on and so forth. Scroll back and forth, go on extended rants about the animation, or some inconsequential, unconnected ramble about world building or whatever, and when I'm ready to resume, I'll say 3, 2, 1, go, and then we'll both go at the same time and stay in sync that way. So you watch the anime on your own screen, but it's like you and I are sitting on a couch together, watching it on each of our own laptops together. And then sometimes I stop you in order to yap into your ear forever about something. That's the way that this works. That's the concept of the thing that we've got going on here. So if that sounds amenable to you, stick around. If it doesn't, it's okay. You don't have to. I recognize that this is not exactly a convenient reaction format, but it works for me because of I don't want to do any extra work. So that's the way it goes. Let's start. I do not remember eating that. That tasted weird. Anyway, let's start the episode. 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, actually, I'm gonna pause immediately. 3, 2, 1, pause. Here's something I forgot to comment on. I really should have earlier. I've talked before about the way that Frieren handles a lot of its background art, especially like city designs. When we're looking at buildings, when we're looking at environments, when we're looking at like the built environment that humans exist in, what I have liked a lot about Frieren is that it makes a point of avoiding the usual trope of the anime interior, especially fantasy anime, but like all anime interior environments, which is it's a bunch of straight lines that are drawn with a ruler, and it all just looks like an architectural drawing, but it doesn't really look like somewhere where anyone lives. Frieren is very, very good about its interior design when it comes to buildings, when it comes to houses, homes, taverns, all of that they all look like, not necessarily that every single one of them looks 100% personalized and unique. They look generic, a bunch of them, but they all look lived in. They all look a little messy. They all look a little like they look like places that people live, sort of at a baseline. They look scuffy, they look scuffed. They look a little dirty. They look a little rough around the edges. There are very rarely any completely straight lines in Frieren's environments a lot of the time. Brick is often like rough around the edges and things like that. So with that in mind, well, isn't this a change of pace as environment design? Isn't this a very different kind of interior environment, a very different kind of putting a building together than what we've seen in the show so far? This is much more that classic anime style thing of like, everything here looks like it's designed by a minimalist interior designer from the modern day. In a lot of ways, right? Like this doesn't really look rustic or fantasy in any sort of like immediately obvious way. It looks like a church more than anything, which is another interesting thing. Is like, hey, what's the intersection between magic and religion in this world, especially when it comes to mages sort of having authority and power beyond what other people have access to? We'll probably delve back into that later. It really does look like a church pulpit, doesn't it? But look at the rigidness of this environment. Look at the fucking ridge, straight lines, the geometric perfection of absolutely everything, the cleanliness, the absolute cleanliness, almost as though no people ever exist in this space except when they're being yelled at by some dude on a podium. Um, what a different way to design an interior environment. For most fantasy anime, I wouldn't really note this. Like seasonal isekai, whatever. I wouldn't, like, if an interior environment looks like that, I just kind of go, yeah, they all look like that. Like, there's no reason for it to look like that. That doesn't really mean anything. That's just what they look like in this genre of fiction, because doing it this way, generally speaking, is a faster and more efficient way to create interior background shots for shots where, like productions and shows where it's not really about the background, like where the background is not really a major part of the world building or the design of the world. It's sort of just generic staging upon which the characters can take action. By the way, is that a fucking white mage? There aren't any other Final Fantasy references down here, right? Is that a fucking white mage? But Frieren is a show which does pay a lot of attention to its interior design, which does, like, very deliberately make its interiors look a different way than this, right? It doesn't rely over much on those ruler-drawn generic anime interior number 483 kind of template designs. It's very intentional about it. For one thing, rather than do the background here as like a fully digitally lined like flat colored environment, which again, very common in this kind of anime, it does do it as a watercolor, like with the same kind of watercolor brush aesthetic going on that it uses for so many of its other backgrounds, which, like, okay, that makes me think that this kind of interior design for the Magic Academy might be intentional. And it might be that way because it's saying something about the sterility of all of this, the rigidness of all of this. Like, the people who designed buildings that look like this rather than buildings that look like, you know, all of the other buildings in Frieren's world, maybe that says something about the mindset of the people who made this environment. Maybe. I can't be 100% sure, but I'm just noting it now so that if it turns out that it actually matters and means something, then I can crow about how right I was. And if it doesn't turn out to mean anything, then I'll just pretend I never said anything, because I am intellectually dishonest. Why would I say that? I don't know. 3, 2, 1, go. Interesting song, this, too. Like, it's doing that offset drum thing where, like, the intro riff implies a different drum groove than the one that actually kicks in, and it sort of kicks you off kilter in the way that, like, the snare emphasizes the other side of the beat than what you're kind of expecting. Not that I know enough about music to say whether that's exceptional, but it has like a sort of off kilter, slightly odd rhythm, right? Da 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 da. Right? Because then once we kick over into the chorus, then we get like these little fills, the drums sort of take a beat, and now we're putting the snare, right, like on the beat that you would more normally expect. I think, again, don't know enough about music to be confident about any of this. Someone who knows more about music theory than me, correct me in the comments, please. So is that other elf going to turn out to be like straight up evil, or is she just going to be annoying? Like, is she just going to have like some kind of childhood grudge against Frieren that she wants to mess around with her? Is it like a trickster thing, or is it like she's going to straight up try and murder them thing? Yuri. An important one. What a way to set up a test to deliberately cause antagonism. Oh, that's funny. Okay, I like the birds a lot. I like them a lot. Three, two, one, pause. So my assumption when at first when it was like, oh, they have to capture these little tiny fragile birds, right? And it's about, oh, they have to demonstrate the ability to be subtle and to be careful and cautious about how they deploy their magic so as not to harm these small fragile sort of, oh, okay. And then we have the girls who are like constantly fighting and being like throwing the cage around, basically like not really giving a shit about what, like, whether or not the thing they're fighting over is fragile. It's like, okay, I thought I saw the outline of what they were doing, right? That it's going to be, okay. Like, there's a lesson here with them about, like, hey, you're capturing this bird, but you're not supposed to kill it, assholes. Like you can't just mistreat it because you have an egotistical whatever between yourselves. No, that's not what we're doing. The birds are fucking tougher than dragons. This is Super Saiyan birds. These are like the meanest motherfucking... Well, not even mean. They don't attack or do anything. They just run away. I really fucking like those birds. I like the subversion of that. I like that it's like, oh, tiny fragile bird. Oh no, it's like we have to protect it and be careful about it. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's like, don't worry about. You can throw a lightning bolt at that bird. That would be fine. That's quite funny. Like that's the show managing to surprise me quite severely, and I do enjoy that. I really like those birds. But then there's the other thing, right? We were talking about like the sort of hierarchical structure of the magic society, right? Like and like sort of the implications of like the system of power that's sort of enforcing the way that the top mages have authority over everyone below them. Interesting that they would design a test like this, which deliberately encourages people with magic to use it to just like control and abuse others, rather than passing the test by being good at magic and actually capturing the bird. Oh yeah, no, just brutalize someone else and steal their shit. That is incentivized within the design structure of the test. And that's like, the people at the Magic Academy know that. Like, they designed the test deliberately to induce this behavior, clearly. Which, again, says something about how this Magic Academy approaches the idea of what magic is for, right? Like, what mages are for, what kind of behavior mages should be expected to exhibit, apparently includes, like, in the way that the serial killer girl is just like allowed to murder someone and then show up again for a test a couple of years later. it says something about the way in which, like, these organizations that manage magic, you know, maybe could do a better fucking job of managing it if people, like, if mages can just kind of go around killing people and it's like, yeah, that's fine, actually, we don't care. It was an accident. Mages, magic, what you gonna do about it? Like, it might say something about, like, a bit of a systemic corruption happening here. And the way that, like, people who put themselves at the top of power hierarchies have a tendency to create structures that reflect what they value, right? So whoever put themselves at the top of this power hierarchy, other elf girl lady, maybe she has a bit of a fetish just for power as a means onto itself, rather than, which I'm mostly saying this because that would make her a good contrast with Frieren, because Frieren doesn't give a shit about power. This is something we did. Like, this is one of her adorable, funny little quirks, right? She goes around looking for magic, and she gets really, really excited when she finds a spell that's specifically designed to get bloodstains out of like shirt sleeves, right? Oh, here's a spell that can clean oil out of a kitchen pot. That's a legendary tier spell. Like, because, like, she does not care about power. She doesn't care about, like, having the biggest magic nuke to throw at someone. She has that. She can use it if she wants to. But what she cares about is all the interesting ways that magic can be used. Like, all of the useful ways, all of the conveniences, all of the, like, all of the nuances of its use and its construction. Whoever designed this test, on the other hand, seems to be a little bit more interested in finding out who can throw the biggest magic nuke, who's best at using magic to just simply gain an advantage over other people, right? To get one over on someone else. Which is an interesting philosophical perspective to confront Frieren with when it comes to the use of magic. I wonder if that might offend her a little bit at some point. We'll see. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, that's good planting. Were you experimenting with that? Ah, the eureka moment. And we don't get to hear the plan, we just get to see it enacted. But that's the fun, right? Like, you sit here and you're going, okay, can I guess what they're gonna do then? See, that's the thing I'm talking about with magic philosophy, right? God, the backgrounds. Like, look at how that's painted. It's keeping out the water. Isn't that going to cause massive amounts of flooding? So when she infuses the lake with her magic and all this stille stay away. Oh, hey, Mr. Wolf Guy. Well, you two are freaks. You deserve each other. There's just something fundamentally wrong with you people that this is how you choose to try and do it. Fern is going to hand you your ass, just so as you know. Oh, they're just going to freeze it. Fair enough. Hell yeah. I mean, try it, old man. You'll have fun with that. So how did Fern's party capture the Stille so easily? I wonder. So I guess we're following this old man now. Oh, geez, that's not good. Well, they were just NPCs, who cares? No, it's not. They're doing it deliberately. Yeah. And that's another philosophy of magic thing. Three, two, one, pause. Yeah, now we get to the heart of that philosophy of magic thing, right? It's like, oh, the Mages Association, they're concerned about maintaining the quality of mages, and if you die here, then you were not fit to be a first-class mage. It's like, that implies some very specific things about what the purpose of magic is in this world. We already talked about it, right? Like, in times of war, mages are much more plentiful, apparently. Because there is clearly in this world this kind of like, well, magic is power, and the function and purpose of power is to exert that power upon other people, right? Like that's what magic is for. It's to enact power on over others. It's to rule over others. It's to affect power in the world, right? That's the philosophy that's at play here. Is like, if the purpose of being a first class mage is being someone who can kill other people to get ahead, someone who can destroy monsters, someone who can secure their own position with the exercise of power, right? With the sheer exercise of power. And that's a very specific philosophy. That's not natural. That's not, oh, well, that's just the rational way in which magic must be in this world. No, like, what about, let me just lay this on you right here. What if you are a mage who's just literally the best mage in the entire fucking universe at magic that, like, scribes books, magic that makes music, magic that cooks food, magic that cures illnesses, but you have no combat ability whatsoever, but you are the best who has ever been in the history of everything at doing all of those things that have nothing to do with, like, battle and power and the exercise of, like, what then? Why does that make you unqualified to be a first-class mage? Why does that make you unqualified to be someone who holds a position of authority? Well, because you can't hurt people. Because you can't kill people with it. Because you can't destroy people with it. Because you cannot enact your will. You cannot force your will. You cannot embody power with those skills. But blasting people with laser beams and making fireballs and stuff, that's real magic, right? Like, that's what magic is for. So there's like, we're really getting some insight into the philosophy that underpins this magic academy, that underpins this whole certification system, right? What do the people who run this shit believe magic is for? Why do they think it is important, right? What do they believe the purpose of it is in the world as a component of existence? Which, again, I don't know how deep Frieren is going to dive into it, but that, again, implies some interesting things relative to, for example, we've seen that a bunch of the healing magic, the curse-curing magic and stuff, that's all sort of confined to the realm of divine magic, the magic of the gods or the goddess. And, like, mages don't really know how it works. They don't really know how to understand it. And one of the things that this is bringing up to me as a question is, like, is that maybe because they didn't bother that much? Is that maybe because all of this, like, curing things and healing people, well, you can't use that to blast someone into a million pieces with a fireball, so who cares? Like, is that maybe part of it? Is that maybe part of why celestial divine magic is not so well understood? Is because a lot of it is, like, for the purposes of helping other people rather than tearing them apart? Interesting question to ask, but also it implies something like all of this magic that is, like, scientifically, rationally understandable, right? All of this magic that is subject to empirical inquiry. What has humanity made of that? Right? Like, what have people made of that magic? Well, they've made weapons to kill each other with. Whereas the magic that is, one might say, natural, like the magic that is divinely endemic to the world, the magic that reflects the spirit of divinity, whatever that is in the context of Frieren, well, that's a lot more about healing and protecting people. Not that there isn't battle magic. We saw that from Sen, but, like, oh, okay, like, that to me would imply, like, whatever gods or goddesses rule over this world, they have different ideas about what magic is actually supposed to be for, actually. And hey, do you know who else uses magic as a weapon just to harm and destroy and hurt people? Is the demons. It's the demons what do that. That's what the demons do. That's the thing that they do. Like, in fact, the standard attack magic that mages use all the time, Frieren, the show, made another point out of that, right? Like, is that they've spent a whole bunch of time researching demon magic, and now, what was it called? Satral or Sabla, whatever that spell, the attack spell, right? Humanity has adopted a whole bunch of demon magic as their own, but demon magic comes from these creatures that are just evil by nature. Like, just down to the core of what and who they are, evil. Whose only function in the world is to do evil, right? And whose primary purpose for having magic is to use it to harm and murder and maim and manipulate and abuse other people. That's the reason why the demons have and use magic, right? So humanity is copying that. Boy howdy, it sure seems like that's a bad philosophical direction to take magic as a discipline and an art form. It sure seems like that's the kind of thing you do if you want to home grow a demon lord at some point, right? If you want to give rise to someone who is so powerful and so well versed in this magic that he becomes functionally another, like, tyrannical dictator marching armies across the land to destroy everything, sure seems like if you wanted to engineer a scenario in which that would happen, what you would do would be have humanity copy all of the demon's worst, most destructive mass, like, murderous magic, and start constructing that kind of battle magic philosophically as the grounding purpose of magic, right? As the grounding purpose of sorcery. Rather than, as Frieren does, oh hey, I can use magic to clean my clothes. Oh hey, I can use magic to detect illnesses, or find a mushroom in the forest, or make a bird in the sky. I can use magic to do all kinds of things that have nothing to do with hurting anyone. And isn't that interesting? That's legendary magic to me. There's some philosophy of power, philosophy of magic stuff happening in Frieren here that I'm very interested in, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, let's get back to the watching of the actual episode. 3, 2, 1, go. It's also interesting that Frieren is in this situation where she doesn't want to use her full power for anything because she doesn't want to make waves and stand out. So she's like, clever old man. And again, philosophy of power thing, right? Frieren is about to catch a bird not by doing any magic, not by throwing lightning bolts around, but just by sitting still and not bothering anybody. Relative to, like, shit grin McWolf guy, right? And the way he just attacked Fern out of nowhere, like using his power to try and enact his will. Frieren is just gonna wait. I'm just gonna sit here and not be a threat to anyone and not do any magic, right? Like, she's solving this magic test by not doing any magic. Until she uses the magic spell to capture it, obviously. But it's that thing about philosophy. Like, what is magic for? It's just a little useful tool. Ooh. She's quick. I like her. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, you're fighting Sans now. Get her ass. I do like if it turns out he's kind of a shit who's not that great. No, she's even more deranged than he is. So that's fine. Okay, so we've had a bunch of like magic fighting here, but we've not like Madhouse has not studio madhoused yet, right? Like they haven't done the thing yet, which is gonna make me hoot and holler. They've been playing it close to the chest a little bit, like some lovely effects animation here. But let me just a single flash where she's not there. A distortion panel where she looks like she's drawn from Shin-chan. Back to normal, gone. Right? And then what a way to do like a that sort of vanishing faster than your eyes can see thing. And then following that up with like a bunch of debris in the air, sort of marking the power of her move. Guess we do the same thing when she comes in. Yeah, streak. Flash to nothing. Streak. Resolve a little bit. Flash to nothing. There she is. And then like just let the cloth settle to mark the impact of the moment. So like we had a bunch of like magic fighting, right? Like which is none of it is unimpressive animation. Like none of it is bad. It's all extremely competently executed. There's some right like doing Sakuga with Fern and what she's doing here. Where I do like that like Fern is like this thing like Fern has been taught to fight with only basic attack spells. She doesn't do anything fancy. And that Fern is also just very still. Like, she doesn't really do anything excessive in order to fight her. I cannot help but see this and go, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It is so very boing, 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 boing. You feel the weight of your sins crawling upon your back. I'm brain poisoned by Undertale. The fact that Deltarune is coming out soon with the new chapters. Oh. But like we haven't madhoused yet, right? Like we haven't studio madhouse. We have like scenes like this, for example, where like serial killer girl is fighting wolf bishy dipshit over here. And like yeah, like this is cool. It works fine, but most of this is just sort of digital effects. There's not really a lot of animation. He's just kind of standing there and flapping in the wind, right? Like, without doing anything. And she's not doing anything either, right? Like, and here it's just Fern and that other girl just chatting without anything happening. We haven't madhoused yet. I'm willing to bet though, that we're about to madhouse. I'm willing to bet that in the next episode, oh, they're going to be madhousing. Like, it's going to be like in the movie Madhouse, where Madhouse says it's Madhouse in time, and then he madhouses all over those people. Like, my favorite part of the Madhouse franchise is always when Madhouse does that. They're about to do it. They're about to do it. I swear to God, they better be. Because you can't set up all of this, like, oh, mages, conflict, powerful mages, and like without giving me some, right? Like, well, like now it's time. Like, Madhouse, you've been edging me for a while now. It's time. It's like it's time to finish it. It's not like, come on, let's go. Let's get on with it. Madhouse. why do I say these things? Why do I say these things in places where it's public and people can clip them? Oh dear. Anyway, membership, early access to things, $1 a month if you want to. You don't have to. Patreon, etc., merchandise store, that also exists. Description, links to everything. Do it if you want. Subscribe if you want. Maybe don't if you don't want to. Bye.